British Vogue just dropped its inaugural Best Dressed list, and with one subtle move, it drew an unexpectedly sharp line. Sitting right at the top was the Princess of Wales. Calm, unbothered, front row energy without even trying. But that wasn't the moment that made people pause. The real pause came seconds later when Vogue released a second list, 55 of the most stylish A-listers shaping culture right now. Actors, designers, musicians, insiders, everyone had a lane. Everyone had a title, and one name people assumed would appear simply wasn't there: Meghan Markle. No ranking, no quiet shout-out, not even a passing line. And when a publication with Vogue's weight goes quiet, that silence is never casual. It is calculated. In fashion at this level, being left out is louder than being critiqued. A door did not slam in public view. It eased shut, almost gently. That is how real power chooses to move. What most people skim past is this: the moment was never just about outfits. Vogue was not grading necklines, heel heights, or the exact shade of a coat. They spelled it out. This list was not about what sits on your body. It was about who you are when you step into it. They were searching for people who set the tone of culture without chasing the flash of it. People whose influence does not arrive with a press release, because the influence walks into the room first. In this world, style is not noisy. It is controlled. It is presence without pleading, confidence without a speech attached. Vogue does not hand out rewards for chaos or constant performance. It rewards discipline, consistency, and the ability to stay measured when everyone else is scrambling. Once that clicks, the list stops reading like light fashion content and starts to look like a quiet power chart. Who is invited into the inner rooms? Who is trusted to be the face of a moment? And who, slowly but clearly, no longer fits the atmosphere those rooms require? And then there was Catherine, not just included, but effectively crowned. Vogue did not simply slot her into a category, they handed her a label that carries weight over time: an eternal influencer. That is not seasonal. That is not a trend cycle. That is permanence. She was positioned beside names that never beg for relevance because they already embody it. Kate Moss, Naomi Campbell, Victoria Beckham, women whose imprint on fashion stretches across decades without needing constant reinvention. Vogue highlighted Catherine's love of re-wearing and vintage pieces, her loyalty to British designers, and her almost uncanny ability to alter a brand's future with a single outing. No frantic campaigns, no long captions, no manifesto about her choices. Just repetition, reliability, and a clear aesthetic. They even pointed forward, noting that her influence is expected to expand as she moves toward issuing royal warrants, a formal seal that can transform a label's standing overnight. Translation: her presence does not just sway trends. It shifts revenue, market visibility, and long-term demand, slowly, steadily, and almost inevitably. That is where the contrast stopped being subtle. One woman rose higher without publicly asking. Another was not acknowledged at all. Suddenly, this moved away from being a fashion headline and turned into a live lesson in how power really behaves and who still benefits from it. From there, the story stopped being emotional and started becoming numeric. Catherine's placement at the top of Vogue's Best Dressed list was not just flattering, it was financially logical. What insiders call the Kate effect is not a social media compliment, it is a measurable market force. Brands she wears routinely sell out within hours. Designers see traffic spikes, waiting lists, and global orders that can be traced back to a single photograph. Analysts and royal experts have estimated her impact in the billions for the British fashion industry alone, with some valuations placing her endorsements and visibility at several $billion over time. Vogue speaks that language fluently. They do not place someone at the top because they are widely liked. They do it because that person moves systems: economic, cultural, and institutional. Catherine does not race to sit front row at every fashion week or attach herself to every brand. Fashion houses quietly hope she will choose them. What makes her even more valuable is what she refuses to do. No public meltdowns, no feuds, no overexposed branding marathons. Just rhythm, just restraint, just a track record that institutions can rely on. From Vogue's vantage point, that is not only style, that is stability. And stability is everything when deciding who gets long-range influence and who gets gradually edited out. Now, return to that second list. 55 names, each slot deliberate. Amal Clooney praised for committing to a silhouette and message. Musicians celebrated for fusing sound and visual identity. Actors highlighted for fearless eccentricity and grounded confidence. Even the men had their own carved-out lanes. Everyone was accounted for. Everyone had a defined reason to be there. And Meghan still did not appear. That absence was not an organizational mistake. Vogue does not accidentally misplace names with that kind of global recognition. This was about exclusion, about no longer seeing a clear, coherent lane that fits their current vision. In elite spaces, lists like this are less about who trends on a given week and more about definition. Who are you in this moment? What do you symbolize now? What can you offer that endures beyond a campaign or a documentary? Vogue did not justify leaving her out because they did not have to. Silence is the institutional way of answering a question that, in their view, is already settled. The message between the lines was blunt, even if it was never spoken. Whatever Meghan represents at this point, Vogue no longer recognizes it as cultural authority. This is where the quiet snub turns into something sharper. According to people familiar with the behind-the-scenes dynamic, Meghan did not sit back and wait for her image to drift back into Vogue's pages on its own. She reached out, but what reportedly landed was not a gentle suggestion or an open collaboration. It was a list of terms, a major feature, prime placement, creative oversight, approvals on imagery, quotes, and overarching narrative. In short, she was not asking to participate in a story. She was asking to steer it. There is a line there that legacy publications rarely cross. Vogue regularly works with powerful women from politics, entertainment, and royalty. But one rule underpins nearly every cover and feature. The magazine shapes the narrative. Even megastars, heads of state, and household names do not fully dictate editorial control. The reported tone of Meghan's conditions, insiders say, raised eyebrows not because aiming high is unusual, but because it read as entitlement rather than partnership. Vogue is not in the business of emergency image repair. It does not exist to rehabilitate reputations under pressure. It exists to protect its own prestige. Faced with a figure whose public brand has become divisive, requesting command instead of mutual trust, Vogue responded in the only way institutions with long memories tend to respond. It declined. Politely, quietly, firmly. In fashion, that kind of soft no resounds louder than a viral call-out. It is the sound of access being scaled back. There was a moment, not long ago, when Meghan's presence appeared rare and slightly out of reach. New, modern, with an aura that felt protected. But mystique is fragile. Once it slips, it rarely returns in the same form. In top-tier fashion and media circles, being everywhere is not the same as being powerful. Overexposure is not visibility, it is erosion. The more the audience hears the same talking points, the same grievances, the same carefully packaged explanations, the weaker each new appearance becomes. Vogue, like most enduring institutions, thrives on distance, ambiguity, and a certain amount of unanswered questions. It allows an image to breathe on its own. Somewhere along the way, Meghan's narrative stopped expanding. Every step felt like part of a strategy. Every interview felt like a defense or a correction. Every smile looked as if it were working too hard to communicate something instead of simply existing in the moment. Fashion does not reward visible effort. It rewards the illusion of ease. When mystery dissolves into predictability, even the most prominent platforms gradually take a step back. Leaving the royal institution was supposed to unlock new rooms, freedom, lucrative opportunities, a complete rebrand. And in some ways, doors did open. Streaming deals, major interviews, brand partnerships. But those moves also exposed an uncomfortable truth. A significant slice of the influence had been structural all along. It flowed from the crown outward, not just from the individual standing beside it. Outside palace walls, the built-in safety net vanished. Projects launched with huge anticipations sometimes faded faster than expected. Media ventures drew attention, but not always the staying power predicted. Behind curtains, relationships cooled. Invitations became selective. Support shifted from automatic to conditional. The reality, as harsh as it sounds, is simple. The authority Meghan once carried did not belong solely to her. It was amplified by proximity to a centuries-old system. Without that structure, each move requires more energy for noticeably smaller returns. Freedom arrived, yes. So did a new kind of isolation.